Hello, fiber fans, friends, and followers. Thank you for joining me this week. I saw a lot of new people watching last episode, which was uploaded 2 weeks ago. And I want to welcome all of you. And I also want to remind you that if you want to continue seeing me, please remember to subscribe. You may even want to turn on notifications because I don't think people are seeing as much of the content that they want to watch with YouTube's algorithm. I feel like they're trying to spread it thinner and have more exposure to different people so that the people that you usually watch you might not see as often. So if you want to continue watching, please remember to do that. And especially since on my next episode, I'll be announcing the next prompt for the Queen Sandy Bag giveaway. In this week's episode, I will be giving away one of my Queen Sandy bags, and I will talk about that upcoming. I also have a new cast on, as well as some things I've been working on to talk about. So with that being said, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Beth. I am also known as PandemicKnittr in other places on the internet. You are welcome to contact me if you have any questions ever through the comments here, through Gmail, on Instagram, whatever the case. I welcome interaction with the community. That's why I always read comments on my videos so that we can interact and this becomes more of a community. So, with all that, let's talk about what I'm wearing. This week, I am wearing a Joji Locatelli design. It is on the grass, and I did a twirl in it earlier today, so I'll throw that in right here. And it is knit in Malabrigo Rios yarn in the colorway Cian. And this was a very fast knit. It was a very fun knit. It has the texture that I like. If I had it to do all over again, I might have done a couple of things differently. It was intended to have the ribbing, the reverse of the way that I did it. So what I did is I knit it inside out. I would do that again. I like the way this looks. I like the way it came out with that in mind. The one thing, well, there are two things. The two things that I would have changed is I might not have made this into a turtleneck because you can see the line of the boat neck that it was originally intended to be. And so I picked up stitches to do the neckline, and it's supposed to be a ribbed, which obviously it still is ribbed, but it's supposed to be just, I think it was a 2x2 or a 1x1 rib for just a boat neck. And I wanted, at the time, I was really wanting to do something with a turtleneck. So I made this into a turtleneck. The other thing that I would change is how I picked up the stitches for the sleeve. So I don't know how well you can tell that there is a ridge here that's showing. So as I said, I knit this inside out. And so I picked up stitches from the right side instead of the wrong side, if that makes any sense. Okay, you guys, editing Beth here. What I meant to say is that I picked up stitches from what would have been the right side if I was knitting it right side out. but because I was knitting it inside out, I picked up stitches from the wrong side instead of the right side, which made that weird ridge. Anyhow, that's this sweater. I do have another Joji sweater that I want to talk about, but I also want to talk about what this last 2 weeks was like for me, because it's been an interesting 2 weeks. I have been just super busy. I have been like, the way that I'm doing school stuff is school is like a half-hour drive from my house. Not hugely long, but long enough to not want to come all the way back home and then go back out there for other things that are happening out there. So it's just enough to feel like, yeah, I don't want to make the commute again. So on Tuesdays, I go to my mom's house after work and I help her do some organizing and planning and things that she needs to get done. And then after that, I go to Knit Night, which is in a town that's right next to the town I work in, which is also the town that my mom lives in. So I just kind of hang out in the area, which means I don't get home until like 9 o'clock at night and sometimes later on Tuesday nights. And then on Wednesdays, there's ASL class at school and I do the childcare for the ASL class. So parents who are taking ASL classes, sometimes they have smaller children that need babysitters. So I'm watching those kids, and I've got a team of amazing volunteers who help me out because we need a lot of help. So it's been fun though. And I get to play with little kids. I love playing with kids. That's like my favorite thing. And this week, what happened is our school's Halloween party was on Thursday night. So I stayed after school. So on Wednesdays, I get out of the childcare class at 8 o'clock. And this Thursday, I stayed late too and didn't get home until like 8:30, 9 o'clock again. So just being out of my house from like 6:30 in the morning until 8:30 at night, it's exhausting. Even if I'm not working that whole time, it's kind of like there's something about being at home that just feels more relaxing. Even if like in between school and ASL class, I knit, which I will be talking about with one of my projects today. But it's still like, there's still that sense of I'm not at home, I'm not fully relaxed, I'm not fully comfortable, I'm in a different environment, and it doesn't feel the same. So I want to tell you about a really fun thing that happened this week. My school had their Halloween party, and as part of that, they have a haunted hallway, which is like the upstairs hallway of the school. And they go all out. Like, this is serious haunted house stuff. They take these black tarps and put them up over the windows so you can't see anything. Like the hallway is entirely covered in these tarps, and it makes it so that like you can't even necessarily tell where you are in this. And of course it's not very well lit, because being a haunted hallway, you kind of want that feeling of the mystery and the darkness and what's around the corner and everything like that. So my role was as the first thing that they saw in the haunted hallway. I was a snake woman, if you will. I'll insert a picture so you can see my makeup, one of my coworkers helped me with my makeup. We found a video tutorial of how to make snake scales on your face, and we kind of went our own direction with it. But I love the eyes on my eyelids, so that I close my eyes and it looks like snake eyes. And everybody was oohing and eyeing over my makeup and my hair. So one of my students coming through the haunted hallway, I got him really good. We have like a code with the haunted hallway where green means go, meaning scare the bejesus out of them. Yellow means slow it down. You can still scare them, but not as heavily. And red means just kind of stand there and smile and wave. Like, you know they're going to be scared just being there in the darkness, so let's go easy on them. But one of my students came in, and my first thing that I was doing, you know, holding a fake snake, I screamed as he walked in. Now, he was a green, so this is why I did that. I screamed and said, "Ow, he bit me," you know, talking about my fake spider. And I saw this kid, he's in 7th grade, so fully capable of saying, "I want to be scared." So he jumped back into his mom, and he, as he came in, I was, you know, I had my snake and I was like, "Do you want to pet the snake?" And he would not look me in the eyes. And he says, "Hell no." And I was like, oh my gosh, he's mad. He's mad that I scared him. But I know he'll be fine. But you know, when you go into a haunted hallway and you know what you're expecting, it's just par for the course. So I hope he came out okay. I haven't seen him since then because I didn't go to school yesterday because I was out sick because my students were dropping like flies and I started experiencing some of the same symptoms they had. So it's so tough because I know they need the help. And yet, like, when you know that the best thing to do is to stay home and not spread the virus any further. But I still feel guilty. Even though I know I'm doing the right thing, I feel guilty because I know they need the help too. It's like, you know, gray area. I mean, not so gray because the right thing to do is stay home and not infect anyone. It's just, I know how stressful it has to be for my coworkers to deal with everything they have to deal with when I'm not there to do my job. Anyhow, I'm still not 100% today. What I've experienced of my students is that when they had this, a couple of them got sick, came back to school, and got sent home again. So apparently they were feeling better. And then realized later that apparently it's almost like there's a pause in this virus. So I feel like right now I'm sort of in that pause phase and that, you know, I'm feeling energetic enough to record, but I may or may not be feeling like editing and uploading today. We shall see. So I still have yet to do my Queen Sandy bag drawing, and I will add that in at some point. I'm probably just gonna, like, at some point in the video, just, okay, here it is. Anyhow, I've talked about what I'm wearing, right? I don't remember now. I hope I did. I've recorded like 3 different versions of this. because that's how scatterbrained I am with my whole virus going on. Oh, I did hear back from Hazel. I do have your yarn. I've been very busy. I will make sure to get that out to you. I have it sitting right here. Hazel, you requested the blue colorway, so that is headed your way. I'm sorry it's taken so long. That was part of the Burl Cowl, which, by the way, I will put a little thing up here for you guys to see who is hosting the Burra Cowl and who you can follow if you want to participate as well, because they are also doing giveaways in conjunction with this knit along. So, in case you don't know, the Burra Cowl is a pattern by Marie Wallen. It is a very cozy cowl for winter wear. It is extreme color work, and I will be starting that someday. Anyhow, next thing I want to talk about is what I am working on. So the first thing I want to talk about is La Prairie by Joji Locatelli. I did try it on this morning and do a spin with it, which I will insert here, and I can talk about some of the things that I am considering altering on this. I noticed that in the front, there's a very angled look. So it's higher at the neck and slopes down to the armpits. And in the finished pattern on the picture of the cover of the pattern, you can tell that continues through to the bottom of the sweater. And I'm not entirely a fan of that look. So with mine, I did block this. I think I talked about it on last episode, because I was saying I thought it looked too short to be connecting it so soon. I was kind of questioning where this is going to land on me. And it does go under my armpits, but it's a little tight up under my armpits. I have made this without the bobbles just because I'm not a big fan of making bobbles. Not that I don't like the look of them, but more or less I don't like making them. So because this opening at the back is where you pick up stitches for the front, that sits on the back of my shoulders. And so this part is shorter here because over here on the edge, it can sit up higher on my shoulder. But here, it has to sit at the back of my neck. So that's what pulls it up and makes it shorter. So I'm thinking what I might do is add some short rows in here and make it longer. But that would mean that I have to rip out the entire front of both sides in order to lengthen that. Or if I'm feeling really nutso, I could add the short rows at the bottom of that. I mean, you know what? Okay. I'm thinking out loud here. That's a thought that just occurred to me. What I could do is just, so I have connected this. I just barely connected. I think I'm 4 rows in to connecting for the body. And what I could do, and now as I'm thinking through this, I'm thinking through the benefits and costs of this. Have I ever mentioned that I have a degree in economics? I'm doing a cost-benefit analysis. So I just, when I said that, benefits and costs, it like brought me back. So I think at the shoulders would be the better place to do the short rows rather than trying to complete the knitting and then do short rows at the bottom to make it longer and more even across. Because if I did it at the shoulders, rather than the sweater like kind of pulling in, as I would imagine, it's going to sit more naturally out. I feel like I'm kind of thinking through this the right way, and maybe if there's anybody out there who has more sweater design experience, you can comment on this. But I feel like if I added some short rows up here, and I'm at the point in my knitting that I know I spent a whole lot of time on this. I know this was a long time of knitting fingering weight yarn in a very intricate design that took, twisted stitches and everything like that. But I want it to fit me right. And I know I've got a whole lot of things that I am working on, but if I don't make something that fits me the way I want it to fit, I'm not going to wear it. So what's the point in just continuing on if I'm not going to like the end result? So my thinking is add some short rows, do a little and then a lot, and then just make that longer. And I'm going to have to do some figuring out as far as what happens with the pattern, with the charts, the twisted stitches and everything like that. That's where it gets sticky. So I could just do a stockinette section and make it sort of a design feature, or I could try my best to follow that pattern and then have a different place that I'm in the chart on each row, which is definitely very potentially confusing. And yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this one, but this is a lighter summer sweater. I may just put this one on hold for an extended period because I want to do my winter knitting. So let me know what you think about that. Comment below because I'm always confused. So the other thing that you have seen before is my friend to friend, which essentially is at the same place it was last time. This is being knit in Hue and Me by Lion Brand, which is the same yarn that's recommended in the pattern. It is a pattern by Leslie Friend, and there was some talk in the comments about what you call this, because on the last episode I said she didn't call it anything. She doesn't call it a poncho, she doesn't call it a cowl, she doesn't call it anything, it's just the friend to friend. But I have since watched her, and she called it a shrug. And so funny thing too is Devin of Knitty McPurley also has a similar pattern that she calls a shrug. Some people in the comments on last episode, a lot of people said capelet. So yes, I can see that. That makes sense. It could be called a capelet. But I'm pretty sure Leslie Friend calls it a shrug. I think of a shrug as like something that has sleeves but just goes around the back and is very cropped. But she calls this a shrug. I mean, it goes basically to the elbows like a shrug would too. So like a shrug that I described before would too. Whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm making. So where I'm at with this one, I did the collar and then I undid the collar and then I did the collar again and then I undid the collar again. So that is what my last 2 weeks have looked like in my knitting. I've gotten nowhere because I keep undoing what I'm doing. More on that coming up in my new cast on. So, this one, I have decided that what I want to do is make it close to the neck, and I want to do a turtleneck, a full turtleneck, just like this. I want it a nice, close, tight turtleneck, because the friend that I'm thinking about making it for, which is that hashtag gift that I had on my last episode, that's what we were talking about. I don't know how I give a gift to this person without giving gifts to multiple other people, and that sounds like a lot of work. And with as much as I'm undoing things, it seems a little daunting right now. Although, if I get this to the size that I want it to be, I think I could easily do more of these for some of my coworkers, and then everybody can have one. And I'll have the design down, my modifications down, and be ready to just throw them out to everyone. You get a shrug, and you get a shrug, and you get a shrug. Anyhow, I'm working on my modifications. I have decreased more than the original pattern recommended. I've lost track of how much I have decreased in comparison. But hopefully by the time I finish this, I will have details on my Ravelry page, and it will be out there for the world to know how I modified it. And that's that on that. Okay, my new cast on. This is all I've done on it. This is the very beginning, the Letho Cardigan by Natasha Hornby. And it is a, what do you call that? The stretchy stuff. Brioche. It's a brioche cuff. And it will have large brioche neck and I guess you'd call it button band, but there are no buttons. So this is super squishy. This is Universal Yarns Deluxe Worsted Tweed Superwash. So this is a machine washable yarn. There is some acrylic in it. This colorway is called Pine. So this is my main color. And where did I put it? I don't think I have I don't have all the colors up here with me, but there's a purple color that's going to be the middle in the back, that color work that's on it. And then I think all of the color work on it is mosaic. So that makes things easier. You know, now that it's a sideways knit cardigan. I don't know what I'm doing. But what I did, okay, so let's get into my modifications. I saw the pattern. I saw what the sleeve looked like on it, and it's like this big around. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want my hand to just fit right in like this, and I want it to be tight to my arm. If you have a wide opening, that ends up falling into the water fountain at work, and it ends up in paint and dirt and food and everything. That's just, I don't like wide open sleeves, and that's a personal preference. Obviously, you know, do what you want, it's your own knitting, but my personal preference was to decrease the amount of stitches that was recommended to cast on. And so I then increased in order to make the next section of it. And so I had to increase by quite a bit. And when I tried it on again, which I have now ripped out, but I tried it on again with I had added, there's a section of like a welt, and then that one is in the main color, and then a section of a welt in a contrast color. And with those two welts on there, it just made it like this around my arm in a way that was like, okay, it almost looked like the rings around Saturn, the way it was sitting on there. So I was like, I do not like this. This looks very almost like Jetsons, like a futuristic kind of odd thing, that my clothing has taken on this 3D effect that I was not anticipating. So I have undone it. That was everything I did on Wednesday night after school, in between school and ASL childcare. And I sat there, I worked on this, I tried it on, I undid it. That was my whole Wednesday. This I had actually, the cuff I had completed prior to that day. I thought I was going to be doing the easy parts at school, and it was easy enough to do, but I didn't like it when I finished it, and so therefore I tore it out. Okay, so this is the Ingrid Sweater by Petite Knit. So I have completed almost all of this. I love this texture. I love the mohair. I love the thickness. What I don't love is how the sleeve is coming out. See how this bumps out here? I feel like that just kind of makes my arms look fat. I like these fitted sleeves. And so I need to come up with some kind of alternative to this fit. I believe the last time I talked about this was in February of this year. So that's why it was like hard to remember all of the details. The yarn on this is from Barnyard Knits. It's A Walk in the Woods is the colorway. And that is a DK weight superwash yarn, and it's held together with a Rowan Kidsilk Haze mohair. So it has a wonderful soft feel. This is a very oversized sweater, and I am looking forward to getting this done. All I've got left is sleeves. I just need to make some decisions. There's mohair flying through the air here. I just need to make some decisions of how I'm going to modify the sleeves to make this something that I am going to wear with all the pride and comfort I can muster. So I'm so excited to get to, like, I just feel this and it just feels so cozy. So anyhow, I can't wait to get that done. I want to get this, like, the needles are in. I just need to get to work on it. I need to refresh my memory on what's happening with that and go ahead and get it going again. So I think where I'm going to go now is I'm going to go ahead and draw the winner for the Queen Sandy bag. So before I do that, I'm going to do a quick run through of what I have of Queen Sandy bags. So this is, all of them have embroidered on the front pocket, PandemicKnittr. It's a nice deep pocket, goes all the way down the front. This is one that has knitting sayings on it. And inside it has another pocket with a zipper. So it's almost like two pockets in one. It's got a nice rectangular bottom. It's a big tote bag, you guys. I'm gonna stand up. They're all the same size. I'm gonna stand up so you can kind of get a gauge for what the size of it is. So this is a nice big tote bag. So all of them same size. So we've got knitting sayings. We've got sheep that look like yarn balls. We've got a nice pastel green with the polka dot sheep. And then we've got llamas in what I have dubbed Miami Dolphins colors. So if you are the winner, those are your choices. Okay, here is the hat full of all of the entrants. And this is my son Austin's Indiana Jones hat. If you haven't seen the episode where I talk about that, that's way back. You're probably better off not seeing it. I'm probably better off with you not seeing it because I just wasn't as polished as I am today. So I have drawn a name and I'm attempting to unfold it and find out exactly who it is. Tara, can you read that? I can't read. I can't see if it's focusing or not. Oh, it is. It is. Tara of Yarn Chicken and SH1T. Congratulations, Tara. Let me know. You can send me an email with your address. I probably need your last name too, because I don't think I have that. But let me know and which choice of bag you want, and I will go ahead and send that out to you. Congratulations, Tara. Okay, for the comments this week. Before I get into the comments, there was something I wanted to mention because on my last episode, there was some talk in the comments about a crocheted sweater that somebody had seen on a different podcast. So let me go back to my show notes. So, Stitches Be Slippin' was the name of the podcast that it was either Doris or Lucille. I apologize for not remembering who it was, but somebody said that they made granny squares and somebody else offered to put them together for her because it was so difficult. Now, the one that she did was actually a different granny square sweater than the one that I am making. So she's making, or finished making, the Ariana sweater, which is a Barocco pattern. That is one that I actually have downloaded because I love it. And so I would like to do that one someday, but I'm not there yet. I'm working on the Rena sweater, which is a pattern by Allison Green. And so I have not yet completed putting all of those together. And that one has been on the back burner for now while I focus on other things. Oh my gosh. I need to stop buying anything ever. I have so many things going on. I need to finish things. I need to get moving. So I did watch that episode, and it does look like it was amazing how she did all of that great stuff. It was so nice that one of her viewers actually took her squares and put them together for her. That's dedication to the people you want to watch. I would not finish somebody else's for them. Sorry guys, not doing it. I had a coworker this week tell me that she has a sweater, and I don't know if she said it was a cardigan or a pullover, but she was talking to me, and I thought she was gonna say, "Can you do this for me?" But what she wanted to know is, how can I, meaning herself, make a sweater more fitted? And so I basically gave her some thoughts on what she could do. And I kind of said, you know what, if you want to bring it in, I can, talk through it with you. We can look at it together, and, I can help you out with maybe where to pin and think about, what you want it to look like when it's finished and stuff like that. But I don't know that I'm the world's best expert on that kind of thing. So anyhow, a lot of the comments on last episode were about gifts, because that was my Queen Sandy prompt. So a lot of opinions about gifts, and a lot of comments. It says I have 37 comments. Now, half of those are probably comments of me replying to people's comments, because I make it a habit to respond to everyone. So if you comment on my videos, it may be as quick as a thank you, thanks for watching, or whatever, but I try to respond to everyone. So Selfish Knitter Colleen says the shawl pin works so well. She was talking about I wore a shawl on my last episode and had a new shawl pin, and it was a great find. She says, I had a wonderful day knitting with you and Sarah. I'm glad there hasn't been any heartbreak. I think it was about running out of yarn. Yeah, we were talking about knitting heartbreaks. I probably knit one gift per year on average. I'm working on a pair of Christy Archer's Simply Irresistible socks right now, which may be ultimately gifted. They are one of those no-heel designs that doesn't require a foot size, so it is good for gift knitting. So I thought that was one that I wanted to share with you guys, because I thought if anybody out there needs any gift ideas, that sounds like a really good one. Most people have a similar foot width, and as far as the length of foot, that's all that makes a difference. Obviously men are going to have wider feet than women, but generally speaking, I feel like most of us divided by gender have a similar foot width. And so that sounds like a great suggestion. Thank you, Colleen. Lucille says, the shawl is too beautiful not to wear out, not to mention the time, effort, and cost. Love the way you are wearing it to show off the beautiful mosaic, and the pin looks great. Thank you, Lucille. So yeah, I'd like to find the right occasion to wear that, because I am a person, and you know, as you go through life, you learn more about yourself. But wearing shawls, I feel like, was never really my thing. I wear things for comfort. That is how I am. I would have to be going to something special in order to wear that shawl out. So I don't know. I'm planning on going to dinner with a couple of friends in a couple of weeks. So maybe I'll wear the shawl that night. That would maybe be a good occasion for that. But I probably will take it off to eat, because I can only imagine how uncomfortable it would be to eat around a shawl. I feel like I'd constantly be going. Anyhow, that's my thought on that. Susan says, hi Beth, I've got to start that friend to friend as well. Yes, do. It goes so fast. It's amazing. She says, I want to make them for my sisters to use during their early morning quiet times as they read their Bibles. I love to make a gift for people who I know will appreciate them. I usually give hats, but I think fingerless mitts or a headband would also be good. Quick gifts that wouldn't take too much time, but would show that you were thinking about someone. I entirely agree with that, Susan. I feel like, you know, you don't want to use all the knitting time that you have for gifts, because at some point you feel like, okay, I'm giving more of myself than I have to give. Like, I need some me time too. And, you know, I think that's part of how I'm feeling about the amount of time that I've been spending away from home. I am very much a homebody. I like being at home. I like spending time with myself and my family. And so I think that's why I'm feeling a little more stressed right now. And maybe it's also because I've got this whole virus kind of brewing in me. So, I don't know. I do think gift giving is important, and putting thought into it is definitely an important piece of that. Wendy says, hi Wendy. If I were closer, I'd always be at your get-togethers. Thanks, Wendy. Tough things going on in our world. As for gifts giving, when my kids were in homeschool co-op, I tried to do useful handmade items for their teachers. Trying to decide who is on your gift list is difficult. Thanks as always for your podcast. And yeah, especially like teacher gifts and stuff like that. Yeah, you want to make it thoughtful. And that's the hard thing to do, is people that you don't know as well. It's really hard to give them a gift with it being as thought out. You kind of have to go with, what do people in general like? And which is why like coffee gift cards are such a popular choice. So yeah, it can be difficult. It can be difficult. Janet says, I usually only knit gifts for family and rarely for friends. Smart. Because where do you draw that line? Yeah. I have learned to start my holiday gift knitting as early as July so that I'm not so rushed in December and can enjoy the holiday season. Needless to say, I've learned this the hard way. I hear ya. This year I'm knitting the Getting Warmer by Espace Tricot for several of my relatives. This is an item similar to the friend to friend that you're knitting. Your finished shawl is lovely, but I get what you mean about some of the long lengths of shawls and how to style them for wearing out in public. Those big ones I mostly use to wrap up in at home. I guess they have their place. Very much enjoying your episodes. Thank you, Janet. Eileen, who we were hoping to meet last time, says that she is recovered from her illness. I am happy to hear that. Stephanie says, what a fun experiment trying all the different Lion brand yarns. Yes, I have not done any more of that since the last episode. Looking forward to your reviews, especially on the recycled yarns. I might have to copy your slipper experiment. So stay tuned. More of that, hopefully, in the next few weeks. Mary says, I love giving handmade gifts for friends and family, but always run out of time. I'm loving your friend-to-friend capelet. The color is great. I do have that pattern and plan on making it. I have had the nap time yarn. Not a fan, but never thought of slippers. I tried making a baby Afghan, did not work. So, yeah, that was the yarn that I made the slippers out of last time, and I'm not sure I'm loving it, but, you know, maybe somebody will. Yarn Motivated says, guess I'd call the not a cowl or poncho a capelet. No matter what you call it, it's going to be pretty and cozy. Agreed. Thank you. Stephanie of Texas Peach Knits says, I knit gifts randomly throughout the year, primarily for family and new babies. I try not to tell anyone I'm knitting for them so that I don't have pressure to finish. Yes, very important. Like, I have on occasion told people, oh yeah, I'm working on a such and such, and then gotten to a point that I was so frustrated with the such and such that I was like, it just isn't going to happen. And so I kind of feel guilty because I know that I told the person that I was making it for, I'm specifically thinking about a blanket that I was making for one or two of the nieces who had babies. And now I have another niece who's about to have a baby. And I have not followed through on the blankets. Blankets take a long time, you guys. And of course, being me, I change everything. And so it's not good. Not working as planned. Okay. And okay, so Stephanie goes on to say, as far as teacher gifts, I go relatively generic. Last year, I ordered a 10-pack of pretty notepads and a set of goat milk hand lotions to split between all the teachers. I also try to have the kids write thank you notes. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea, having the kids be part of it, because I feel like too often the gifts that you get from students are clearly something that the parents have put together and the students have no hand in. So I like the fact that you're having your kids participate in the gift giving, because I think it's important to show the kids that that's their responsibility too. They are part of the gift giving process. Sharon says, I don't have co-workers, self-employed, but for my side of the family, for Christmas, we give a family gift rather than individual gifts. Some things I've done are homemade soup or cookie mixes, knitted dishcloths with Mrs. Meyer's dish soap, candy or other snacks, etc. I did make an Afghan for each of my two siblings, one per year, so those years that person got a bigger gift than the others, but it was fine. I love seeing your friend-to-friend thingy. I have yarn and intentions to make that, maybe later this winter. I'm going to use Plymouth Encore Chunky in a denim-like color. It's also acrylic wool blend. I think it would be a great gift. I think I will wear it in the house when it's chilly. Yep, I think that's a good idea. I think, make one for yourself. It goes so quickly. You're gonna love it, Sharon. Sarah says, For family and friends, I try to give personal gifts. Our district gives sheets for each teacher so we know what they like and don't like. It even includes what type of gift they absolutely don't want. I also tried not to mark it with their names just in case it isn't to their taste. Lets them re-gift how they choose. My kids love getting something for their teacher, so it tends to be a must. Yeah. It's nice when the kids are part of it, as I said before with Stephanie. Yeah. Tara of Yarn Chicken and SH1T says, I enjoy giving gifts and like to put thought into them so they are specific for that person. I rarely knit gifts because my husband and sons give me a hard time about my knitting. My youngest asked me for an Eric Cartman hat last year, which I happily knit for him. He loves it. That's cool. I don't know what an Eric Cartman hat looks like. I mean, I know it's South Park, but I'm trying to picture Eric Cartman. I mean, it's just like a stocking cap with a pom-pom on top, right? So sounds pretty simple. Sounds like a fun, like, make it like Cartman's. That sounds like a fun experiment. Olya says, I always enjoy making and giving gifts and try to find any opportunity to make something for a gift. However, I also don't want to give things that will not be appreciated, especially if they take a while to make. Basically, I have learned to gauge the interest of a particular recipient before making something for them. This is mostly family and very close friends. I ask what they would like, are interested in having, and go from there. I stick with the smaller and quicker items, hats, dishcloths, cowls, for people that may not be as appreciative of a handmade gift, but usually they still are. Yeah. Lucille, I try to pay attention to the person and find out things they like. Yep. Doris said, I give gifts all year long, but I do not give gifts for holidays or birthdays. Just whenever I knit something they ask for at any time of the year. Hats, sweaters, socks, etc. Doris also said, tie knots in the end of the tails, talking about my shawl. Smart. Colleen Selfish Knitter added another comment saying, caucho? Shrowl? I think I prefer caucho. So yes, very creative, Colleen. Thank you for your suggestion of what to call the capelet shrug friend to friend. At any rate, my phone is telling me that I have run out of time to record, so it behooves me to bid you farewell. So, with that said, keep surviving, keep thriving, like, subscribe, and comment below, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.